Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mizuki Arts. Today we are opening a huge box of watercolors from Himi. So thank you so much to Himi for sending me all this wonderful stuff. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to try it all out. I've already kind of been snooping at what's inside, you know, checking it out. And obviously I've peeled off most of the stickers. I'm not actually sure how I'm going to film this because this takes up the entirety of like my usual working film space, and then this side of my desk is just kind of chaos. I guess we can just start off by letting you all have a little peek inside at what's to come, and then I think I'll try to pull each item out one by one with this box off to the side simply for space sake. But to start off, we've got a little pamphlet. It's got all the information about our products, I think. Yeah, a little more information about Himi. And look at all that stuff. They've got acrylic and gouache. Information about brushes and markers. Like I said, I've already kind of snooped through this box, so it's not a super big surprise for me. I've looked at this already, so I knew where the watercolor was. But I'm very excited to try all this stuff out because it's all new products to me. And then tote bag. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta take the box off my desk. You guys, this is like a huge tote bag. I mean, it's like a grocery bag, you know, but this will be really great for me in my art classes because I need to carry a lot of stuff. It's really cute that it's got the brand name on the handles too. I really love that. Thank you so much, Himi. This is really cute. And then let's start off with this curious little thing. I did open it up earlier because when I opened this package initially, I was just too curious. It has such a nice little leather pouch. I really like this. Look at that. Very cute. And then I was really curious what would be in this. Like, is it an on-the-go palette? And I've got to take a closer look at the brochure to see what it is for sure. When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking like it's skin tones. Like, it's got this cute little chart, but like, you know, it's for painting skin maybe. But I'm also looking at the color chart and I'm like, what if these are like iridescent? I don't know. I think they're meant for painting skin tones, which is really cool. And I'll have to look at the brochure to make sure. But look at all these cool colors. It is like a really great palette for painting skin. Like, it's got some purples, you know, some people have those purpley undertones. It's got some pinks and peaches, some lovely browns and blues. It's great. Look at that. Very cool. Okay, I'm kind of like really curious to know if it is a skin tone palette. So I'm going to look at the brochure, but I'm also going to like test some colors just because I think it would be very fun. Open this up again. Let me see. Oh, yes. Take that chart off. And this is kind of cool. It has like little caps to like protect your paint. So it's nice. I could like work with a couple colors at a time and have the others protected from being contaminated, which is pretty cool. And I guess that would mean like this side could be for mixing, and that way when I go to close this up and maybe there's still some moisture on this side, I can protect the actual palettes from this side's, you know, mixing action. I think I'm going to start with testing out like the peach and like this green color because those are the ones that I'm like kind of really super curious about. So I'm going to try that one too, I think. I mean, you know, I'd like to try them all out maybe later in the video. I'm going to start with the peach, get my brush nice and saturated. Oh, whoa, what? Why did that change color? What? Okay, all right, wait. Ooh, okay. That is really smooth. That went on like super smooth and like activated very quickly. That's lovely. Okay, I'm gonna try the green next. I cleaned my brush off a little. I'm just gonna boop. I think it's so funny that the pans like change color a little when I add water. That's funny. I mean, it's cool. It's really cool. Look at that. That is such a lovely vibrant color. Oh my gosh. Okay, now we're gonna try out that purple color. Need a little more water in my brush. This one's gonna be really interesting to put my brush on. I wonder. Oh, that definitely is pearlescent. Yeah, pearlescent. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that sparkly. I love that. Add a little more pigment. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Stunning. She's gorgeous. Layer her over the peach a little. Beautiful, beautiful. I think I'm gonna test out all the colors on like a piece of paper, because now I'm curious if there's any of these that are also like pearlescent or metallic and I just can't tell. You know, I gotta know for sure. So here's another longer sheet of paper, and I'm just gonna, you know, swatch a whole bunch of colors on here. I'll do them in order of like where they sit in the palette, I think. So this green one turned out to be like a yellow, which is like literally breaking my brain right now, and I'm running out of room, guys. I want to save some paper. I can't just keep. I'm trying to save my little scraps for all my collages and stuff. And what's this one? I gotta know. What is it? Is it like purple? It's gonna be like a purple, right? Like a very pretty. Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's a good purple. That is a quality purple. Absolutely stunning. Look at that. Palette swatching complete. Look at all the pretty colors. And then look at the palette. Oh my gosh, and all the little caps. I don't think you're supposed to take them all off at once. All right, I'm just gonna clean this up a little before I close it, because it's kind of like all over the place. Oop, oh, I'm making it worse. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside to dry, and along with the swatch card. And then we can move on to our next thing. So the very next thing that I pulled out of this box was this cool 36 color watercolor kit. I have been eyeing this thing since I first peeked into the package, because look at that. It's very bright, it's colorful. I love travel size watercolor kits, or like really any of the ones that, like, you know, fold up on each other. I have like the Winsor Newton field palette, and I'm literally obsessed with it just because I think it's so cute that it folds up, you know. I love that. I love that about the Himi gouache sets too. So it's a thing for me. I like little folding sets. It's cute. So we're gonna open this up and check it out. Also, I hear like a little card shaking around in it. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is cool. I didn't realize it was gonna be like this. Oh my gosh, like this full design. That's really cool. Let's get the little. Oh, that was a brush. Okay, I'm way too excited. I guess we should start with this and just see what's on the inside. Ooh, watercolor paper, and it's of a nice quality. It feels like it might be like 160 pounds. It could be more. I'm not an expert with watercolor paper. I felt like I was getting pretty good at identifying paper qualities, but it's definitely like cold press, because these little aqua brushes are a lot of fun too. I don't think I've ever had any before that were specifically from Himi, but you take off the top and then you fill this area with water, and then you could take this with you on the go and like squeeze a little water out through the tip into your palette, so that you don't have to have like a cup of water with you. I usually use a spray bottle instead of a cup, but this is nice too because I don't have to carry a spray bottle with me, which isn't practical, and spray bottles have a tendency to leak all over my bag, so this is nice. Can you guys tell I'm like really hyped up? Oh, there's more watercolor paper. Excellent. Look at that. That's probably like good for a swatch card for this set. Oh, it is a swatch card. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Free the watercolors. Whee! Okay, we're free. Did you see that, like, the paper scrap that went flying? That's from my desk. It just clings to plastic. So easy. Anyway, wait. The moment of hold on. I have no fingernails right now, guys. The moment of truth. Look at all those colors. Oh my goodness. I just want to eat like the little watercolor cakes. I love that. Looks like there's a little spot here for like the brush. Oh, I don't know if that fits. A spot here for a brush, not that brush. But look at all the colors. Looks like we've got a beautiful range here. I'm gonna fill up this little brush and then we'll do some swatches. My brush has been filled. We're gonna let a little bit of water out through the end, thoroughly wet the bristles, and then we're gonna start with the yellow. There is a white, but I don't know how much we'll be able to tell about how that works without like painting something first. There we go. This set is really, really cool. The colors are very vibrant. There's a lot of variety. Next thing I pulled out of the box is this Himi 24 color solid solid watercolor set. Wow. This is honestly like a really, really cool design. It's kind of like a makeup palette, which is what my mom said when I pulled it out of the box and showed it to her. So we're gonna open this up and try it out. You can see at the back here, there's this very cute little pink paintbrush. There's been a little more information about Himi and the colors. And then the front side here, open this up. Oh, there we go. We're going to test this stuff out on some of the paper that came with the 36 color solid color set. That definitely appears to be like a hobbyist quality. It's a very cute set, good for on the go, and good for like sketchbooks and stuff like that. It does have kind of like a white cast. I don't know the price point for this set, because I mean there are sets made for hobbyists, and when a watercolor set has a white cast, that usually means in terms of chemicals, it's like more binder and less dye, or I guess pigment would be the more correct term. I'm not like an expert on watercolor. That's just something that I've kind of learned when shopping for my own sets of paint, is that when like a watercolor cake set has like a white cast, like it's usually not as pigmented. That's all. There's nothing entirely wrong with that. It just means it's a different quality of paint, that's all. It's still a really cool set. I like that there's like a spot in the middle here to put my little water. We'll get out some paint. I think I just want to do some like cute little floral designs. I'm kind of tired of swatch cards, you know? I tend not to do swatches even for sets that I buy for myself. Like when I got my first Himi set, which was gifted to me by my parents, like Himi gouache, same brand and all. I didn't even do swatches because I was like, I just want to get straight to painting. So I just started working with it. And when I got my very first watercolors ever, I was the same way back then too. The brush is definitely really nice. I like this brush, and I'm curious about this shade of blue because it's not one I see very often in paint sets. That's a nice shade of blue. Look at that. Very, very cute. Yeah, this set is definitely like great for beginners, someone that's just looking to get into watercolor and see if they like it. I'll definitely use this for like washes in my sketchbook. It's probably really great for like on the go because it's just got like a little spot for water and then everything else is just out there in front of you. It's very compact. I feel like I could have this like on my lap or something, like while I'm at the beach, like over this summer's coming, so that's what I'm really thinking about. Is I'm like, I could have this on my lap. It's super compact, but there's still enough area to work and enough colors and everything, so it's really nice. Little flowers, very cute. Hee. Obviously the blue is mixing a little with the red here. I didn't really clean my brush, so it's kind of purpley. Very, very cute. Kind of want to dress with this pattern, not gonna lie. Very cute. Maybe later in the video when I'm like working on a painting, I'll cut these out for collage pieces or something. I'm gonna do like a little purple flower over here just because I feel like I really like testing out the purples. I don't know what kind of flower this is, but we're gonna do a couple of them. Very cute, look at that. And then we'll do some purple stems too, just because I feel like it. Boop. Some little leaves. Very nice, excellent. Smooth application, but it's still like got the movement of watercolor, so very fun. Also, I just love that it's pink. Like, it's just such a cute little set. Very nice. This is the last paint set in the box, and it is the Mia 24 color W7 watercolor set. Very exciting. It's supposed to be like a professional quality watercolor set, and look at this pretty box. It's got like, you know, silver on it. That's kind of cool. So let me get my scissors and we'll get the plastic off this and open it up. Hopefully this moment of truth is a little easier. Oh, the box is sparkly. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's sparkly. I didn't notice that before. Moment of truth. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh my god. Okay. Let's get this on. And we've got some lovely literature here. It's got other colors labeled for us. Very nice, very nice. On the back side, some more information about more sets. Very cool. Oh my god, look at this. Holy cow, guys. Holy cow. Look at all these colors. Something I noticed immediately is they have their own shade of red. Look, see, it's Mia red. That's really cool. And I just realized my fingernails are all stained by watercolor. That's really embarrassing. I'm really loving the shades of green we've got going on here. Very exciting. And this particular shade of red is very exciting to me as well, because you guys know I like to really overplay the blush on cheeks. I absolutely cannot wait to try these out, guys. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Himi. Before I swatch this beautiful, beautiful set, I want to take a look at the other products in the box, because I really want to get to painting, and I'm definitely going to use these for most of the process, just because, I mean, look at how beautiful they are. I have no doubt they're going to be an absolute pleasure to paint with. I mean, all these sets are really nice. They're really wonderful. But I'm excited to use these. The next product that's in this package is the cotton 300-pound 20-piece set of cold press watercolor paper. This is going to be some really nice paper. I can see like how much wonderful texture is on that paper through the plastic. So the design on this pad is pretty cool. I've seen some other pads like this where the edges of the paper are sealed all around except for one spot over here, and you're just supposed to take a palette knife and kind of slide it under the sheet of paper to take it off. I think you're supposed to paint with the page on the pad because it's kind of like it's stretched, you know. If you aren't super familiar with watercolor paints, when you're using watercolor paper, sometimes the paper warps because of the moisture, and when you stretch it, you apply water to both sides of the paper and then tape it down really, really fast, and then when the water dries up, the paper shrinks down to the size that it's been taped at, and it won't warp, or at least won't warp nearly as much as if it were unstretched. Although since this looks like very thick watercolor paper, I don't know that it needs to be stretched. I don't know. I'll probably try some of it stretched and then some of it unstretched just to get a full idea. And the last product we have to look at today before we start painting is the Himi Watercolor Brush Set. It's a 5-piece set. I really like the artwork on this. It's really funny. And that paired with like the straw that's kind of like, I don't know, like a bird's nest texture is really fun. Oh my gosh. I've been looking at this brush like every time I open the box because it's just so chunky. I love a good chunky paintbrush. I can't get it off. Hold on. The handle feels really nice and heavy. There's the brush size there. The bristles feel really nice. They're kind of stiff right now, as most paintbrushes are when you first buy them. But it's softened up really nicely very quickly here. And I've used Himi brushes before. Obviously I used the little pink one that came with the cute little like makeup palette looking set. But I also have some that came with like my gouache set. And yeah, they're really nice. They do hold up very well. So I have no doubt that these will hold up the same way. And here are the other 4 brushes in this set, all of equal quality, I'm sure. Absolutely beautiful. I love the color that they make most of their brushes in. Obviously they make like the pink one for the pink little set too. But yeah, I love like the little turquoise that seems to be a consistent theme in Himi products. Absolutely lovely. So yeah, let's just get right to painting. So I decided for the painting that we're going to do to take one of my work in progress pieces that's just in my sketchbook and cut it up because I want to do a collage. I'm kind of addicted at this point to collaging my artwork. It's just so much fun. And I couldn't get the edges on this painting to be even, so it all kind of works out. And this way I get to use more paint because I'm going to paint some more little like accessories and like a background and everything. I'm going to use my Himi palette that came with my 24 Himi gouache set that my mom gifted me for Christmas a couple of years ago for this watercolor set. I actually used this palette in my watercolor class too that I took in the fall. So you know, it's a good size palette and I'm going to use it again for watercolors today. Honestly, I never thought I was going to get to sit down and finally start painting with these because in the middle of this I actually took a family trip like immediately after unboxing everything, and then I had a ton of schoolwork to do, and before I knew it like several weeks had passed. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 weeks between unboxing this stuff and finally sitting down and getting the chance to play around with it and have fun. Honestly, I was a little worried when I did sit down to paint with it that my skills would not transfer over to watercolor for some reason. I mean, I did take a watercolor class, so I do know how to use watercolors and everything, and I use gouache in a very similar way to watercolor, and back when I first started painting, it was with watercolor paints and everything, but I paint like in a very different way now, and in my own sketchbooks and everything. It's all like very layered and chaotic. So I did worry that I was going to like overwork the painting a little bit, but I did end up doing fine. And these paints were a lot of fun to work with and very vibrant and colorful, just a lot of fun all around. For this piece, I primarily used the Himi or Maya Arts professional watercolor set, like the tube set. These are a lot of fun, obviously, like I said, and they are really nice to work with and they layer really well. And any of the products that they send me that I haven't used in this video or haven't really gotten a chance to show off at all, particularly the watercolor paper and some of the other smaller watercolor sets, I will try to feature in some future YouTube shorts and reels and all that, and I'll obviously mention them in the description box of those. I'm extremely grateful that I get the chance to show off products like this to you guys and try these out. Art supplies are very expensive, so I'm very grateful to Himi and Maya Arts for supporting this channel once again. Because otherwise I don't think I'd be able to get to do a video like this where I get to just unbox a whole bunch of art supplies and play around with them with you guys. And as for what I chose to paint in this video, obviously a fairy. I've painted probably almost a dozen fairies on this channel, probably more at this point. I'm probably way underestimating how many I've done, but that just shows you how much I actually enjoy painting fairies, because I do it every day and I'm like, I've probably painted 12, probably painted like 12, you know. So yeah, don't take my word for it, it's way more than 12 at this point. But anyways, since it's springtime, I'm naturally already thinking about summer. So I gave this fairy some like mermaid fin looking ears. And I also have drawn an assortment of seashells that you'll see me paint, some bubbles and starfish and all that. And I was thinking kind of an oceany, lakey, like murky green-blue background for this fairy. I also already had Mermaid on the brain because naturally I knew at the time that May was coming up, and I know every year I do at least a week's worth of Mermaid, and I'm almost out of school, guys, so you watch out. There will be a Mermaid video, and maybe more. Maybe there will be lots of Mermaid videos. We'll see. Obviously, I've promised all kinds of other videos that I have to get to at some point, so we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to find out, that's for sure. It's a surprise even to me, obviously. I actually had kind of a tough time deciding what colors I wanted to put on this fairy, because I've done like river and ocean fairies before on this channel. Actually, for my Himi gouache palette like review and paint with me video, I did an ocean fairy, so I was like, okay, this one needs to be kind of like a lagoon mermaid, or maybe last time I really was thinking more lagoon, but I don't know. It's not like there can only be one fairy in an entire ocean or all of the oceans, you know, but I just didn't want them to look like they were like related, you know. I wanted them to be separate creatures. Completely unrelated, I mean, just different ocean fairies that probably don't even know each other at all. Or alternatively, maybe there is a village of ocean fairies that live in little seashell houses and they live in a tide pool, and it's cute, and they eat seaweed salads. Maybe this particular ocean fairy's name is Shell, and she has a hermit crab as a pet, and yeah, she's a character in my head now. She just exists. That pretty much happens at some point to every fairy that I draw or paint. Every time I'm like, yeah, she's my fairy OC now, and she's just going to wander around in my brain, you know, doing fun things like picking berries and sewing dresses out of flower petals and things like that. It makes me wonder why I don't ever like redraw my favorite fairies. Like I wonder if I should start redrawing some of them, you know, since I want to be a children's book illustrator. It might be fun to come up with some of my own little fairy characters, or really just to try and make them consistent, you know, like draw them consistently, and try to create some stories with them. Obviously that kind of thing does happen naturally too, like I do have some little stories in my head for these guys, but you know, it'd be fun to kind of pursue that too. As for how I went about designing this character, I wanted her obviously to look different than my other ocean themed and river themed fairies, so I decided to give her pink hair. I gave my lagoon or ocean fairy from my last Himi like video, blue hair, and I decided to give this one pink because obviously pink and blue are pretty different. And my river fairy has blonde hair. You can go back and see on my Paint With Me playlist the video that I'm talking about when I say river fairy. She has blonde hair, so I thought this was a nice in between. I thought about making her brunette too, but I have painted a lot of brunette fairies lately, so I thought an unnatural color would be a nice deviation from what I've painted lately. Pretty much once I did that, I had a hard time kind of balancing out everything that I wanted for her clothes. You'll see later in the video that I go back in and like paint over things a couple times, just because I have this weird habit of painting things all at 1 or 2 values and then not adding a lot of shadows or depth or anything. So oftentimes I do have to kind of step back from my artwork a little bit and then revisit stuff to add a little more range and depth. And as far as the pink and blue combo, I wasn't loving it all that much, so I did try to add like a little bit of green just to kind of add in a third color. I painted some of these seashells and sea stars and all that kind of as I went. Taking little breaks from things and revisiting them does help me a lot to kind of figure out what needs to be done to make a piece work. And I revisited her eyes too because they were too bright of a green for my taste, at least in this piece. I wanted them to have like a little more shadow to them and maybe be more like a hazel color. As far as adding shadows, obviously you've seen me add some to her face and her shoulder and everything, but one area I like to make really dark is this area that's usually like right underneath the chin, and then like in her hair, right near her chin too. I like to really make that kind of like a point of contrast, and I added some shadows to her hair as well in both pink and blue, just to try and give it a little bit of depth and a little bit more color variety. It's kind of difficult for me sometimes to give my characters unnatural hair because usually I like to give them like pink clothing or pink wings or whatever, so sometimes I have a hard time putting that color in like their hair, and obviously I do it from time to time. Like I mentioned, my last Himi painting video, or at least Himi product unboxing and painting video, well, I gave that fairy blue hair, so it's kind of funny that I gave this character unnatural hair too. And I think it's a fun way to show off the color in the paint too, like the fun, saturated, bright, unnatural colors. I gave her like, for lack of better words, like watery wings too. I wanted them to be kind of crystally looking or clear looking and have a lot of like motion in them and look like they'd be sparkly and very thin and delicate. I kind of wish I'd given them more of like a transparent look too, but I do think they look very watery in like a whirlpool of sorts, so I really like them, and I think echoing the pink of her hair in like the swirling vein and also at the ends of like the individual winglet things. I don't know if that's what you call them at all. There's no real term for that, I guess. But anyways, I then decided to let that dry and decided to add my little background piece. I went in with that green I was so excited about, along with a couple other shades, as well as some blue. I tried to make it look very swirly and organic and like very much like a pond or a lake or a lagoon, whatever. Just like light in water and algae and things like that. Obviously this is like a very fun part of the process for me because there's not like a lot of ways you can really mess this part up. It's just like a lot of different ways of making brush strokes. I love painting these little backgrounds, especially because I think for a long time I felt like my art was missing a way of making backgrounds, and it was a lot of fun to do this with watercolor too, because it's so like full of motion and life. It really kind of just does its own thing, which is a lot of fun. At one point, I did get impatient though, and I ended up overworking it a little bit, but that's my own fault and exactly what I was worried about going into painting with watercolors again. But yeah, I tried to do lots of different styles of brush strokes to really get that like full of life kind of look that like murky pond or lake water kind of has. Lots of like plants and algae and things like that. I added in some like magenta too, and went in with a paper towel and tried to soak up some of the excess water, and then just kept layering stuff, which is how I ended up getting overworked a little bit. And finally I was ready to start adding some of those gel pen highlights to my finished fairy. I added them to her eyes, eyelashes, obviously, all the little accessories and details that I added, especially onto her hair. Like you'll see there's like little bows and little like barrettes and things like that. I like my characters to look very sparkly, very glittery, very just very full of highlights, you know, just lots of little details and things like that. I'm definitely like a little bit addicted to white gel pens. So they're a lot of fun to play around with. And one of my favorite parts is highlighting this little vein in the wings. Oh, it's so much fun. It really gives them that translucent, watery, liquidy kind of effect that I was going for. At this point, I was finally starting to see like the painting come together a little bit. This was one that I struggled with in terms of like colors and everything, but by this point I was happy with it all. I just struggled to get things to look good with the pink hair, and at this point I was even still worried that it wouldn't look good all together on that blue-green background. But as I started to get the pieces kind of finished, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I'll add some glitter on this and it'll be great, it'll look good. And I'm happy with the final result. It's just funny to think that, you know, I haven't done like an unnatural color of hair on my characters in like a while, so it kind of seems like it fell out of my rotation of like things I considered in my comfort zone. But yeah, I'm glad I tried it again, because it did challenge me to build my color palettes and everything a little bit differently, I think. Gotta add those details to all my little pieces, and I added some glitter to the background like I mentioned earlier. I have like this glitter glue stuff that's a pre-mix of like different like sizes of glitter and different shapes and everything, and I love to add that as like a little base. And then I had some star glitters that I got at Michael's like probably half a year ago. I think I mentioned it a video or two ago. It's like a Christmas mix. And then a little bit of Mod Podge. I was able to add on my pieces and arrange everything in a way that I liked. This collage is a little different than some of my like usual ones, because there's not a lot of like overlapping pieces or anything. I think it's all pretty much separate floating pieces, but I do like the effect that it gives when I collage pieces, even when they're not like layered or anything. I think it's a fun look. And then I went in with my white gel pen and tried to highlight some of the areas of like color shifting, some of the natural movement that happens with watercolors. This is a technique I've discovered fairly recently, where I just kind of splash some color down as a background, and then I go in with my white gel pen and try to make it look very bright and like it's all separate little pieces and everything. It's just a lot of fun to play around with. And I really enjoy adding on these little simple backgrounds to my characters, because I think it adds a little more life to the finished piece. And if you're wondering what all these paint bottles are for, they're just for holding down some of the more stubborn pieces that might warp while the glue's drying. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know I have a ton of acrylic paint bottles on my desk. So I just pull, you know, like 5 or 6 down every time I have to glue things. And I just kind of use them as weights. And yeah, they work pretty nicely for that purpose. I try to dedicate a lot of time to adding these final little details, like sticking on all the little star glitters and everything, because for me this is usually what makes or breaks a piece, deciding like how much of the little, like, I don't know, gel pen sparkles or how many types of glitter I add. I mean, it's pretty important to me, at least. like even where I choose to put them is important. Like if two of these like big star glitters, like sometimes I'll include larger glitters like this, are too close together, I think it's distracting. So I try to take a lot of care for that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me unbox some awesome new watercolors and trying them all out. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier in the video, anything that I didn't really get to highlight today all that much, I will definitely be trying again in the future. And I want to say thank you so much to Himi for sending me all this stuff. It really is amazing that I get to share this with my community, and I feel so blessed. Thank you so much. Definitely go check them out if you're interested. Himi is on Amazon, and they have their own website and everything. Real quick before I go though, I want to say thank you so much to my Ko-fi supporters. Your guys' support means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It allows me to keep making videos like this one. If you want to join my Ko-fi page for all these benefits and so much more, check out the link in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!